Welcome to the Storytellers Porch, a cozy podcast featuring real stories with collective impact. Grab your favorite drink and relax with us on the front porch as we join our host and our guest storyteller for another evening of community and hope. Come along with us as we welcome our guest to the porch.
Welcome to the Storytellers Porch. This is Jill Davis, and I am here with Kerry today on our porch. And Kerry, you may have just noticed I did not say your last name because I have known you for years and years, and I am never sure I'm going to pronounce it right. So as I started to say it, I stopped. So tell us your first and your last name. This is like an interrogation here.
I'm Kerry Krueglar.
I was going to say it correctly. So Kerry Krueglar, I'm so glad you're here today. One of my favorite things about this podcast is it's mine. Like I get to choose the people I have on it. And you are one of my favorite people in the whole world. You have been with me on the podcast journey and on other journeys. We've known each other. It feels like forever, but it hasn't been that long. You realize that, right?
It's been 10 years.
It's been 10 years. So that is a bit. I think it's 6. Yeah, I'm 60 now. And so when I think about 10 years, it's just a smaller and smaller part of my life, but yet feels like a very big part. And we met when I was learning how to be a speaker. And what were you doing, Kerry, in that time frame? How did we meet? Tell me a little bit about it.
I'm telling you that it was I don't know what, it was Speak It Forward.
Speak It Forward with our friend Kent Julian.
Yes. And he had me there taking pictures of the attendees who wanted pictures taken for website or business purposes or anything. And it was life-changing, actually, because I met you and I've met other people. And that crowd, they were awesome. Like, it didn't matter what year, what season, like, because he had it twice a year. They were like my people. They were, I don't even know how to define them, but it was life-changing every time I was able to go and take photos.
It's so funny because my absolute favorite photos of me, which, most of us don't really love our own photos. We just kind of do them. But my very favorite photos of me, and you've taken them, many of them over the years of me, that's just what you do. You did a lot of pictures of me. But my very favorite ones are from that first session. And it's because you had this ability, and I'm sure you still have that ability, but in that moment, you had the ability to see me without ever knowing me and get me to express myself in a way that really worked. And they just were fabulous pictures. I may post one of them on our website, but for sure we'll have some pictures of you, Kerry, and what we're talking about today, the story we're sharing. But before we start sharing the story, let's settle in a little bit. I am on my porch, our figurative porch in Colorado in winter of 2023. It is 8 degrees outside. So let me tell you, I know, crazy cold. And I am drinking hot chocolates. If it were later in the day, there might be a little shot of peppermint schnapps in there. But for today, it's just hot chocolate with marshmallows. How about you, Kerry? What do you have drinking with us on the porch today?
I'm in Atlanta. We're outside of Atlanta. It is 55, 60 right now. And it's chilly, but I'm still drinking my ice water. I have ice water every single day. And I put lemon juice, lime juice, fresh squeezed, and some essential oil in it. And that's what I drink all day. Last night I had a scratchy throat, so I happened to have bourbon. But
it's that time of year. My brother was telling me yesterday about that he likes having hot buttered rum. And I'm like, I forgot that even existed. I've got to figure out my recipe for that again. So many yummy things in the winter, but I do look forward to the summer when it's going to be a little warmer here. Wouldn't want to do summers in Atlanta, but good on you for being there. Too hot and sticky and buggy for me. I like my little Colorado summers, but I'm so, so glad you're here, Kerry. And one of the things that I love about you is you know what you like. And there's one person in the world that I know that you like. Tell me, because this story is all about that person. Tell me who it is.
Donny Osmond. Donny Osmond, answer to every question.
Osmond, I love that. How does your husband feel about that?
He's totally okay with it. He rolled his eyes at first, but he is actually the one back in 2001 who bought tickets for me surprised me with tickets to go see Donny Osmond at the Fox Theater in Atlanta. So he has supported it from the very beginning.
So that's like 22 years ago. That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes, because like I said, I'm 60. I was born in 1962, almost 63. But sometimes I'm like, 2001 wasn't that long ago. But when I put it in perspective, my now 23-year-old was 2. So it was a few years ago. I want to hear about it. But before we do that, some of our listeners, I know this would be shocking to you, but they may not be familiar with the Donny Osmond of our era. They may not even be familiar with Donny Osmond. So let's talk a little bit about who Donny Osmond is in the world. I remember Donny Osmond. What was that song he had when I was a kid? You were a lot younger than me, so you would have been like elementary school.
There are so many. Like, are you talking about one that like
I'm trying to, like I can see him and his sister dancing on the TV screen about I'm a little bit country, you're a little bit rock and roll.
My ringtone. So every time my cell phone rings, I hear it.
So the name of that song is I'm a little bit country, I'm a little bit rock and roll. And
Yes.
Donnie Marie would come out on stage.
Yes.
She was country or was he country? I think she was.
He was country and he was rock and roll.
Yeah.
But it more like even if he was itty bitty because his brothers were a thing already.
The Osmond Fives. No.
And when they went on, they were actually discovered at Walt Disney World. I just remember that the other day. And then Andy Williams had them on his show. And Donnie was 5. He was itty bitty and he was precious. So it started long before the Donnie Marie show.
And I called it the Osmond Five, but that's not right. It was the Jackson Five and the Osmond brothers. Yeah. So I don't remember him that little because I grew up in a home with no TV. So like I've never seen an Andy Williams show. Like we didn't have those things. I had a TV when I was in high school, and that's when the Donny and Marie show was out. I don't even know what it was called, but it was a variety show.
My mom was an Andy Williams fan. Like she loved Andy Williams. So he was like a mainstay. And even now I have the DVDs and all that good stuff.
So when I think of Andy Williams, I really don't remember him at all. He would have been like a late night TV show, but during the day, right?
No, I think because he also had a TV show with his brothers. But no, and they had a variety show. I don't know. I listened to Andy Williams at Christmas and I paid attention with Andy Williams and all of the Osmonds on it.
Well, here's what I just realized is I bet he was on reruns during the day when I was in high school. And that's why I think of him as an afternoon show. But I'm just glad he discovered Donny Osmond because that made a difference for you in your life. And so when did you first realize how much you like Donny Osmond? Like, what's your first memory of your friend Donny?
My friend, my sister, I have 2 other sisters. Or not 2 other sisters, but 2 sisters. They are 6 and 8 years older than I am. And my middle sister, who was 6 years older, and I shared a room. And bedroom. And since she was 6 years older, and she was and still is all things music.
Oh.
She really kind of was an Osmond fan and just kind of went on from there. And then one day when Donny and Marie came to Atlanta and they were on a radio station, I remember this as clear as day. I was old enough to stay home and the radio station allowed you to call in and hopefully get to talk to them. My little girl self called and called and called, and I never got through. And I cried and I cried and I cried.
Oh.
And I got my little radio player. You know, it's the kind that you could take, like a little box. You take the lid on and off. I put on my Donny and Marie record and just listened to it. And I sobbed. Like I really sobbed. Like you would have thought the dog had died. So it's so funny because to think that I'm still remembering that moment all these years later, it's just, it's funny to me.
It's one of those things that we talk about in the storytelling world of the stories really are the fabric of our lives. They are what makes us. And, you know, I I didn't have a crush on Donny Osmond. I didn't really have a crush on any singers because, like, I grew up in a very religious home. We listened to the Bill Gaither Trio. We just didn't have that. But what I do remember is I had a little record player like that. It was like a suitcase kind of thing. And mine was white on the outside and red on the inside. And we had the luxury. Somehow I got this album of an opera, but not just any opera, Jesus Christ Superstar.
Oh, that's a good, yeah.
I listened to that. I can still remember being in my bedroom. I couldn't have been more than 10 years old, listening to those songs over and over and over and over and over again. And I could still tell you, if I were to hear the actual song again, I might do that later on. I could tell you where the record skipped. Like if I hear it now on Spotify, I would be like, that's where my record skipped. So, those things do make us who we are. That opened my whole world to a new concept of what music could be. And I'm not a music person. I love music. I don't understand it. But my sons are. They're crazy musicians. Like they play. And it's just a fascinating thing how those stories and those memories make us who they are. So you're a little girl, you're crying. I feel so bad for that little Kerry. I want to just say it's going to be okay. You're going to get to meet Donny someday because I think maybe you did. So
tell that little girl, guess what? You're not going to be able to talk to him right now, but in 10 bazillion years later, you're actually going to get him to hug you. She probably would go, yeah, whatever.
She'd probably still be crying. And that's almost like an unfathomable thought for a little girl. So now that was a little sneak peek there, everyone, of what happened to Kerry. So in 2001, your husband bought you tickets for you and your sister to go see Donny Osmond. I want to put a segue in here real quick for those of you who don't know Donny currently. The way I remember Donny, other than a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll, is as Joseph in the, what is the name of that?
Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. And Any Dream Will Do is probably one of my favorite Donny songs. I mean, it's Andrew Lloyd Webber, but that song, my mom bought the DVD for me, and I will listen to it every once in a while. The music is amazing, and he's really good in it.
I did never see him live in it. I saw the recording of it. It was on some TV place somewhere. I saw it recorded. Anyhow, phenomenal. I agree. So Any Dream Will Do is your favorite song. So this whole adventure, Kerry, started in 2001. You just mentioned that, where your husband bought you and your sister tickets to a Donny Osmond concert. I'm going to let you take it away from here and tell us what happened after that.
Well, actually, I need to start the teeny tiny bit when Todd is my husband, when he actually gave me the tickets. It was my birthday is in May, and he gave me a card, and I was like, okay, I opened it. I wish cell phones were a thing then, because I would have loved to see my face and have video of when I opened that card. Because I opened up the card like I know exactly where I was standing in our house. And I opened up the card. I opened up the envelope, opened up the card, and I saw 2 Donny Osmond tickets. I squealed like I was grown. We had 2 boys. Like it was 2001. Like I was grown, and I squealed like I was a teenage girl. I jumped up and down, and he followed it with, but I'm not going. So I had to find somebody to go with me. And I took my sister, my middle sister. And we went. The directions said no photography allowed, and you would have had to take a clunky camera. And I didn't take it because I'm a rule follower. And I got there, and all these people had cameras taking pictures. And I was like, never again. I'm not ever going to see Donny again and not have a camera.
So did you know right then? Did you know then that you were going to see him again? Had you already put that in your own mind? That you were going to see him again?
No, I thought it was one and done.
Oh, okay.
And it wasn't even a thing for him to have even any shows in Vegas. And at some point, he and Marie had a short residency in Vegas. And I happened to mention to a friend, hey, Donny and Marie have a residency. Anybody want to go? And my friend Gail said, I'll go. And oh my goodness, they put on some kind of a show. He did as a solo artist when I saw him at the Fox, but he never disappoints. Never.
And when you say he never disappoints, tell me, because I can see you, our audience can't. And you just went down memory lane.
He doesn't. Todd did go to see him. I've seen him more than several times. And he played Donny, just Donny, came to Atlanta again and was at Chastain Park. And that is an outdoor amphitheater. And I also, because of the Fox, while they were good seats, I was like, next time I see him, I want to sit closer. And so we got a little closer, but he involves the audience it's like nothing you've ever seen. So he entertains, he sings, and he hasn't lost any of that. And he pulled a man up on stage at Chastain to sing along with him. It's just, he is all inclusive. And you just walk away. And it's like, whenever you see him, it's never enough. Like the concert ends and you're ready to see him more. So it's just, seeing is believing. People just need to see him in person.
Well, I have enjoyed listening to him. Like, I do like his voice. It's a different way. But as you're talking, one of the things that happened to me as a child, and, we look at our parents different as adults, and we recognize our parents were people outside of people. Outside of being our parents, they aren't just our parents, and they're not just like in our house all the time. Like when we're at school, they're doing stuff. And when I was a little girl, we went to go see Johnny Cash. And that was like unheard of because he was secular. And I was only 6. I don't remember a whole lot about it. But then I remember when later on, I came home from school, my mom was listening to Johnny Cash on a record. And it was that first time when I thought, oh my gosh, my mom is a person outside of being my parent. And so I love, as you're talking, that this was when your kids were little and you were making sure to be a person outside of being a mom. And that's really an amazing thing to do. And I know one of the things you did as part of being a mom outside of, or being a person outside of being a mom, was you had a business for a specific company. Tell me a little bit about that and how that plays into our Donny story.
I am and was, I still am involved with Creative Memories, and they are all things scrapbooks. In 2000, it actually started much earlier because I had to really work. They have had a magazine called Star Performer, and I wanted to be on the cover. I don't know why I did. I just felt like I wanted to be on the cover. And I had to prove myself cover worthy. And it happened. I worked really hard, and I had somebody fighting really hard on my behalf too, to make, to say, look, here, she's worthy of this cover. It was a whole article and the cover, but there's this little sidebar of the page. And one of the questions, it was like to get to Kerry at a glance. And one of the questions was, if you could meet 3 people, who would they be? Well, there was really only one, but the question was 3. So I just wrote Donny Osmond, Donny Osmond, and Donny Osmond.
Of course, because the answer is always Donny Osmond, right?
Right. I mean, and that was my answer. I was like, I could try to figure out 2 more people, but that wasn't really me at a glance. It was all Donny.
And so then what happened?
So that was in 2007. And I knew that the magazine was going to come out. I think it was the April edition. In my heart of hearts, I was like, you know what? Creative Memories is a pretty big company. What if they wanted to surprise me and have Donny Osmond deliver all of my copies of the magazine? Because I knew I was going to get a package of them. And I was like, what if? And that didn't happen. They came in, and I was like, okay. And then 2 years later, Donny and Marie had a long residency because they had a short one. And then they had a longer residency at the Flamingo Hotel. And when I found out about it, I called my mom and I was like, Mom, you want to go to Vegas with me to see Donny and Marie? Because when I'd already seen them in Vegas once before, and I was like, you have to see them. Like, they are so good. You have to go. And she went. And then one of the options for tickets was the VIP experience, where after the concert, you would be led to go meet them.
Wow.
And you could take one thing to have signed. Well, I mean, obviously, the one thing that I'm going to take to be signed is the magazine, but it wasn't I didn't have him sign the cover. He actually ended up signing where I had written his name. And we were last in line. And part of it was because we were a little lost, but part of it was intentional too. And most people were taking, records and they gave you pictures that you could give to them to sign if you didn't have anything that you brought. And I had it open to that page. And I don't know if he said, what do you have for us to sign? I don't remember at all. But I was like, I've got to tell you this. There's a story why I'm having you sign this. Like, I was talking a mile a minute. Like, you would have thought I would have been like dumbstruck and not been able to talk to Donny Osmond, because I was like looking at Donny Osmond, and part of me was like, I'm talking to Donny Osmond. But the other part of me was like, no, you got to understand, like, this has a purpose. Like, this is why I'm here. And so I pointed to the part of the page where it said Donny Osmond, Donny Osmond, Donny Osmond. And he had a moment of, oh my gosh, like, I had gone over this moment so many times, because for a moment, it was almost like, he was like, wow, like, it's so hard to explain. And then he turned around, like, he was like, oh my gosh, he started laughing because he laughs a lot. And then he came back and he gave me the biggest hug.
Wow.
And I about died. I'm not a hugger by nature, but that moment, like Donny wants to hug me, Donny can hug me. It was like a real moment. Like, it was, and they had a photographer there who was supposed to take the picture of you with Donny and Marie. And Marie had enough. I talk about gratitude all the time. I was and am so grateful for her, because she motioned to the photographer, who was this young girl. Like, she probably was a teenager or young 20s. I mean, she was young. And Marie was like motioning her, like, get this, take these pictures. They took so many pictures. It was like a whole series. And I think I bought every single one of them. Because I am, like, as you talked about, the storytelling and stories. Pictures to me tell a story. Mm-hmm. Like, so much life is told in a photo. And those photos are nothing short of, it captured the moment. Because if I didn't have those pictures, I would question whether it really happened or not.
Yeah. And I've seen the pictures, and we will put those on the website with your permission. But you are grinning ear to ear. It's just, it honestly almost looks like Donny with this, like, amazing other, performer or something. You just look so amazed that you're with him. And the kindness that Marie showed by making sure there were extra pictures is phenomenal.
It really is. Like, and I have tried a couple of different ways to thank her. Then, it's kind of waned because my efforts kind of, but I tried to thank her because it was huge.
Yeah. It's interesting how we come to this point, Kerry. What a gift, right? What an amazing opportunity you had to get to see Donny. But you made the choice to go there. Like, you made the choice. Donny Osmond, Donny Osmond, Donny Osmond. It's almost like a magical spell. Say the name 3 times and click your heels. But you also worked at that. when we look at all of humanity and the way that it's all interwoven, just like we started at the beginning, the fabric of our lives, I think that that's a tagline for some washing detergent or something. I don't know. But, it's cotton, the fabric of our lives. That's it. It's cotton. So I am advertising cotton here, but it's the stories are the fabric of our lives. We weave it together. And before we got on the call, Kerry, we talked a little bit about collective impact because stories are how humans make sense of our being. And we were just kind of playing around with some ideas. I would love to throw out an idea of the collective impact your story has for me. And then I'd love for you to share what you feel as a collective impact here. And so for me, what I heard you talking about is number one, dreams. I love the fact that your favorite song from the Technicolor Code is Any Dream Will Do. Like a dream gives us so much motivation, so much desire. Like I dreamed of having kids from the time I was tiny and I ended up with 4 of them. Oh my gosh. Like any dream will do, but that dream was specific. I've dreamed about all sorts of things in my life and you have too. So dreams make a difference in our lives. The other thing that I picked up as we were talking about this story is you didn't go to see Donny Osmond by yourself. You didn't go and keep it. You went and shared the experience. And I think that is a big part of the collective impact here is that dreams fulfilled, dreams achieved are sweeter when they're shared with others. And you're sharing your dream with us makes it even a little sweeter again. So that's where I see your collective impact. Do you have anything else around that? Do you have anything you want to add to that?
I think you did a good job of summarizing that. I had already thought about the dream aspect, but for my mom and me to go see them together, that was a real special time. And she knew how important seeing him would be and meeting him would be. She obviously knew what I had, the Donny Osmond part. And she has always been, or was always an advocate for me when trying to explain to somebody how determined I was to get something done. Even she saw it when I was in elementary school. So that was a thread and she just followed along with my determination. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
Dreams, sharing the experience and the determination. Usually if somebody said, what describes you in one word? Usually it's determined.
Oh, that fits you for sure. Determined and focused. Yeah. To me, the other thing, as you were talking about your mom, and then we'll wrap our time up together, Kerry, although I know you and I could talk for hours and hours, as we were talking earlier about moms being people outside of being parents. I think of little girl Kerry sitting in her room crying because she couldn't get it through that phone call. You were little. Your mom had to be probably in the house somewhere. She knew your tears. And then she went from tears to joy.
That moment, I was old enough to be at home and I was in the living room. I had to have been home alone because rarely did my parents go out because it was time of, that era. We ate all the time, but I think I was home alone.
Wow.
And that open in the living room to just sob. I would have been hiding away somewhere.
Wow. So you were doing that by yourself. So your mom really didn't know, but yet she also did get to watch you from falling in love with Donny to getting to see him, to being hugged by him, to seeing the pictures of you with him. What a gift you gave back to your mom. Because what mom doesn't want her daughter's little girl dreams succeed and to be fulfilled?
Right. That's absolutely good.
So, Kerry, I have loved having you on the porch today. It's such a delight to get to enjoy the people that I love. This season that we are in now, going forward, I actually have people coming on I don't know that I haven't met. So I'm really glad that I got to start recording this next session of the Storytellers Porch with one of my favorite people in the world, Kerry Krueglar. and I got it right. Kerry, is there anything last that you would like to add before we close out our time together?
Go see Donny Osmond if you can. I'm serious. Like, people go to Vegas and I'm like, you need to go. You're not going to regret it. Like, and he's there now. Like, he has another resident. This time he's on his own. You won't regret it. Like, you don't regret it.
Well, I'm not going to Vegas anytime soon, but you know what I am going to do today is I'm going to download put them on my Spotify playlist, especially Any Dream Will Do. I think that's a perfect one for today in my world. Kerry, thank you so much for joining me here on the porch. You enjoy your water. I finished my hot cocoa while we were talking, but I'm going to go put another sweater on. And I just am so grateful for you being here. Here at the Storytellers Porch, we believe we are the stories we share. Keep living your story and meet us next time here on the porch. And be sure to bring your favorite drink.
Thank you for joining us on the porch today. To support this podcast and help us continue to bring stories to the porch, we would be honored if you like and follow us on your favorite podcasting platform. Click the plus, thumbs up, heart, or follow button on whatever listening place you join us from. You can also support us by leaving a 5-star rating and a review. If you really enjoyed this show, find and follow us on social media. We're on Instagram and Facebook, both at The Storytellers Porch. If you share our post with your friends and family, that helps even more. Throughout our storytelling times, we hear real stories of courage, tragedy, rejection, triumph, joy, grief, and all the other wonderful aspects of existence that make us the unique humans that we are. We hope these stories bring us together and give us hope. We continue to learn from our stories, create with them, and connect through them. By sharing these stories, we can create community, and by creating community, we can continue to heal humanity. We can't wait to sit with you next time for another story on the porch. What drink will you bring?